Very good. So this is the log of testnet, and it seems to be very slow. And when I try to deploy from my RChain wallet here, I get deploy failed. Ooh, look at that. It actually does show my deploy here. I think that's me.
Yeah, and isn't the wallet.txt file now on is that on the testnet?
Yeah, it looks like it's on testnet because that's where I see my deploy.
Okay.
VARFR. VARFR is my account. And it looks like someone else has tried to deploy here. And I don't see exactly what the error was. I do see some problems. Up here. Okay, well, so that's I'm going to see if I can find the address of the status of the nodes. Oh yeah, I wanted to also check to see if we had any, if we could choose any other networks here on the account side. And it looks like still just on the test net. And so what's on the agenda for this morning, Steve? Anybody? Raphael?
Well, yeah, I guess we're waiting for Arvin, but in the meantime, Raphael mentioned that he has some things that he can show us. So, Raphael, you're welcome to go ahead.
Okay, let's go. So, I'll be mainly talking about the developments around the dAppy framework. So at first, the release 9.21 came out, so it's great because it includes exploratory deploys. So it includes the possibility of raw lang code execution for free and as a service. So this means that we don't need rock or something like that to execute Rolang. Read-only nodes provides the free capability of Rolang execution and of course getting the result of a Rolang execution. So this basically means that we can read anything we want from the blockchain, or we can read quasi anything we want from the blockchain, because right now we cannot read values from, for example, unforgeable names that are not referenced through the registry. So, but this should come out a bit later, but maybe finally, at first I thought I needed this feature, but maybe I can use the registry as the main entry point for any address system. And that's what I'll do with dAppy, is that instead of relying on unforgeable names, I will rely on the registry URI. So basically the address of a blockchain resource which is a file or a web application, will be registry URI dot and then a unique file ID. So this means that there is some kind of file module that I'm working on right now. So maybe I'll start by showing the code I have written. So this is not the good repo. So it's not finished. It's not even published on GitHub yet. But basically, I called it Rolang file module. So I will show you the Rolang code. So, or yes, the README file is better. So it is a Rolang code which can manage resources stored on the blockchain with basic authorization. So basic authorization right now means that a single identity, which means a single public key, is able to push file and update files eventually. So the structure is the following. There is a main, this is the main channel. And so the two URIs keys are stored on it. The entry URI, which is used to update or to add file, and then the files URI, which is used to read files from a Rolang execution. Then the public key is set at deploy and it does not change over time. So basically a file module belongs to an identity. And then a unique nonce. Anytime you push a file, you must provide a valid signature for the current nonce value and also a new nonce to be recorded on the blockchain. So that's how I do. It is from a cryptographic point of view, it is incomplete because there is just a signature of the nonce and not of the entire payload. But this is a temporary solution which works great. And then the files map contains all the files indexed with a file ID value. The file ID can be any arbitrary string. So this is about to be ready. I have to start playing with the explore deploy capabilities, but I have issues because my node is I work locally. I don't work with the testnet, so basically I cannot do explore deploy on my node because it is not a read-only node. So this is the small issue I have currently. So basically this was the presentation of the file module. And then I have also worked on some web application examples for the dAppy framework. So I will show you the repo is called dAppy blog. So basically it's a blog on the blockchain. It is a full dApp, which means there is no dependency for any server. It's 100% blockchain dependent. So I will start by deploying it. So basically, you can see this repo as it's just the repository of a web application that has been coded with React and HTML and CSS. So I am going to deploy it on my local blockchain. Because I will demonstrate the various capabilities of dAppy with this application. You'll see that there is a few steps. So now I just have to open dAppy. So I have opened dAppy. So this is the new logo of the dAppy browser.
Oh, I like it. Sweet.
Cool. So it's great. I am connected to a dAppy network which contains only one node, but it's fine. So right now I have deployed. So as you see, the result I receive is an unforgeable name ID. So what I explained earlier is that I will change this addressing system to work with the file module, which means the address of a resource on the blockchain basically will be something like that, registry URI dot my blog. But right now I'm still relying on the old system, which is unforgeable names based. So I will get back to dAppy. So I have passed the unforgeable name in the address bar. And okay, so my web application launches just like a website. So right now I can read articles that have been written, but there is none. So I can hit the identify button because I am the administrator. So I hit it, and dAppy provides a way for me to identify. So I will input my password, and then so what happened here is that the public key is recorded in the JavaScript code. So when I hit identify, the web application issued a request for identification and required an identification for this very public key. So when I hit identify, it succeeds, and right now this button has been unlocked. And the main point is that the JavaScript context of the web application never had access to the private key. It just required an identification, and dAppy provided it. So now, since I am the admin, the web application knows I will be able to sign transactions for the blockchain. So it can display this interface. So basically, I am going to write anything. And the cool feature is this feature. So right now, it is a default address, which has been, how would you say it? Issued, which is it is basically a basic operation which translates the public key to a rev address. So I can set any address I want because it will allow later anyone to tip the articles I post. So I will send it. Of course, the web application cannot send any transaction because it does not manage private key, so it cannot sign the transactions. So dAppy has to do it. I'm going to do the same thing, input my password. I can see here that there is also in the Roland code a signature that will be generated from my private key. So I can have an overview of what will be performed. So basically, this word here, the sign word, will be replaced by a valid signature of the nonce. So if I show you the Roland code, you will understand. So this is the Roland code, and basically there is a verification of the signature here. That must be a valid signature of the nonce, and it has to be it has to match with the public key. So that's what dAppy now allows, is to perform any kind of signature generation. So I will hit send transaction, and then if we take a look at RChain logs, you see here that this value has been updated. So dAppy replaced the sign expression with a signature that has been processed by my node. So it tells me that the article has been created, and now if I get back to the home page, it should do a new request and get the articles. So, so yes, the home page updated with a new article that it has found. So that's great. And of course, if I quit the web application and I come back, it will load the articles instantly. So then the cool feature I have added is the possibility of tipping. So right now, if an article has been published with a rev address, you can send revs to it. So for example, I'm going to send 10 revs to the author of this article. Again, dAppy does not manage, web applications does not manage private key. So they can only issue requests for blockchain payment. So this is a request that has been emitted. It's a request for 10 revs for this address. So I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. And then dAppy issues this transaction to the blockchain for a value of 10. After a few times, it will propose a block. And basically, so there is no confirmation yet in the interface, but basically, this transaction is processed, and I have the output telling me that it went well. So basically, it's a blog web application which has no dependency for any server, and you can perform blog posting and author tipping. So it's a bit like I forgot the name of the platform which does that.
Steam it?
Yeah, Steam it, that's right. So basically that's it. So this application is cool because it demonstrates the three possibilities, which is identification, transaction issuance, and payment request from so any web application developer can use the same capabilities. So for example, the request payment is just this JavaScript code. This will toggle the pop-up for blockchain payment. So basically that's it. Yeah, there is maybe just a last thing. This is the HTML file of the application I just showed you. So basically, the cool thing is that you don't have to re-upload all the JavaScript dependencies or CSS dependencies every time. You can just deploy them once, and then you're going to reference them here, just like a web URL. But instead, it will be a dAppy URL. So this is the unforgeable name. And then the JavaScript code will load in the execution environment here. So so this is so basically these features are now finalized, and it works great. So basically that's it.
Wow, that's awesome. On Discord.
Oh, that's great. Great.
Yeah.
Good job. Great. Good job.
On Discord, I saw the question about the hex byte array. Was that what you showed us earlier? That conversion to get to the hex byte array? Were you able to incorporate that?
So yes, I can explain rapidly what it's all about. So this is the repository of the file module I showed earlier. So basically, when you deploy it at Genesis, you reference, you give a unique nonce. So this value, of course, gets replaced by a random value. And the thing is that anytime you add file, the Roland code will verify that you provide a valid signature for this nonce. But the problem is that if I deploy, for example, to node 1 and the person who manages node 1 does not carry my transaction to the network, but instead keeps it and reads from it, it will be able, this node, this malicious node, will be able to get the valid signature of the nonce and to change the payload value. So basically, the signature will be accepted, but the payload, which means the file content, can be any arbitrary stuff. So, so what I need is I need the Roland to check the entire payload plus the nonce value instead of only the nonce value. And this is the issue I have because right now I cannot, for example, this file, no, this file. So this file generates a signature in JavaScript. It generates a signature of a nonce. But the issue I have is that I cannot sign complex objects. So this was the issue, but it has been explained to me. So with a bit of work, I should be able to generate a valid signature of any object in JavaScript, which means that I can here I will check the hash of an entire payload plus a nonce. So basically, it's something like that. And this way, any malicious entity that gets my signature will not be able to send anything other than this payload that I have sent. So basically, it's very basic encryption mechanism. So I have just implemented a basic solution right now, which works great. But I will extend it to be more secure in the future.
Okay. Neat. So yeah, so .21 is allowing the being able to explore free. How do we refer to it as free exploration or
basically it's just a ghost deploy. It's exploratory deploy, which means you can execute any Roland logic but for free. So so this resolves the ever remaining issue we had with the RChain Wallet, which requires you to sign transaction to check your balance. Right now, we won't have to do it anymore.
Okay.
So I guess
ghost deploy. Okay.
Yeah, does it have to be read? It has to be read only though, right?
yes.
Yeah. So I guess there's some internal check that it won't allow you to actually commit anything. It just is read only.
Yes, it's read only. And this is the issue I have because locally I have a standalone node, but it's not a read-only node. So basically, I cannot perform exploratory deploy on my node. So maybe I'll have to run 2 nodes on my computer to be able to do it. 1 node to record the transactions, and 1 node just for exploratory deploy. So but this issue will be resolved soon, I guess.
Okay. Now I know we skipped over. We went from point 19 directly to point 21. Was there anything in .20 version .20 that is going to be helpful to you?
I did not understand really the .20 release. I think it was something like a half a release because all the files were not generated. So basically, I think it has been skipped.
Okay.
So
All
basically,
right.
the main one is 21 now.
21. Okay. All right. Wow. Raphael, you're going to need a technical writer or someone to on staff to I like the idea of a blog. You know, now if to have a dAppy blog and to blog about these features, you need um, a blogger or someone to communicate those ideas.
Yes,
Um,
eventually. Eventually. My goal is when it's launched is to have an open platform into which people can distribute or some kind of store where anyone can propose a web application to be added in the defaults here web applications list. But
okay.
yes, yes, I'll write about it. Basically, I'm working on a complete documentation of dAppy to be ready when it launches, along with the RChain mainnet.
Oh, okay.
So it will sum up all the capabilities and all the possibilities.
I'm curious, what platform do you plan to use for your dAppy documentation? Is there a particular platform you're going to be using, or well, I guess it's going to be or is it an application on the dAppy platform?
No, right now I still use legacy web for a few stuff. So I have written it on gitbook.com.
Okay, because there was a discussion with the developers as far as what platform tool to use for end user documentation, and it just happened that one of the suggestion was Gitbook. So it's very interesting that you chose Gitbook as your platform for documentation. How do you like Gitbook? I mean, any thoughts, pros and cons?
Um, I'm not very familiar with documentation writing. From a UX point of view, it's perfect because you can pass. I guess it works with Markdown. You can export it to PDF, so you can send it through email. You're not always dependent of the platform. I don't know exactly their pricing policy. So basically, when it gets public, I'm not even sure that it will be free for me, but I guess. So basically, it's a good one. But yes, my documentation is still short, I think, in comparison with a complete RChain blockchain documentation. But it's perfect for what I have to write and communicate.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm interested in the name Gitbook. You know, it sounds like GitHub. Is there any relationship between Gitbook and GitHub, or are they just two separate entities and no relation?
I think it's separated.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but yes, I think it's not the same organization.
Okay. Yeah, I just happened to pull up Gitbook this morning and was reading about it. So I'm kind of doing my investigation. So cool. Well, yeah, thank you for showing that as well.
Yeah, I think if you want to have multiple authors, you've got to pay starting at $40 a month for 5 users. So
Okay.
for collaborative work, we do have to consider that. Now, as I understand it, the code for Gitbook is public, so I think we could run it ourselves. I don't know.
Yes, this is the ideal solution.
Ooh, okay. So let's kind of talk through that. So the code for Gitbook is available, meaning that we could run that application through dAppy on RChain. Is that the idea?
Yes, any website, you will be able to port it to the dAppy name system. So basically, you can have your server with an IP address and reference it in the dAppy name system. But yes, I think it could be a great thing to do.
Okay. So I guess all of the Gitbook repository, in order to do that, since it's open source, is that out available on GitHub? Is that your thought, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. Go ahead.
I think that's normally the case. Is that
yeah, that I think with a name like Gitbook, you would seem to think that it would be, if it was open source and available, it would be on GitHub. But we can verify that. And then, so the other question is, if and when, if Gitbook, if they have, updates to their code, I imagine that they would publish that out on GitHub. Then what we would do is just go and grab those updates, update the code on the dAppy application, and then we would have the current version of Gitbook. We would be running the current version. Is that the thinking on how that would work?
No, right now we are talking about IP applications, which works just like a website. So which means dAppy will just do the correspondence between a name, which may be a RChain doc, and your IP server. So what happens on your server is not at all the work or the responsibility of the dAppy framework. So basically,
the
developer who is in charge of it will update the code on the server, and it will be, of course, reflected instantly for the clients.
All right.
It is different from a full dApp. So basically, if I share my screen again, there is the IP applications, and then the dApps that you might call full dApps also. So the dApps are the ones that are entirely stored on the blockchain, but I don't think for such a file, I don't think it's a wise solution, because it will cost too much money simply. So I guess RChain documentation can be distributed through IP application. So just if I read, IP applications refer to websites that use the decentralized dAppy name service instead of the DNS system.
Okay.
Just like the DNS system, dAppy name service allows anyone to register a name and link it to one or more IP addresses with a corresponding SSL certificate.
So it looks like you have some explanations already in Gitbook. Do you feel comfortable? Could you publish or provide that link to get to the Gitbook for dAppy? So, because I would be interested in starting to review the introduction that you have and get a better familiarization with dAppy and what it is. But that's only if you're ready.
Yes, I think it's about to be ready. So basically, I think to enter into the dAppy philosophy, this is the more, how would you say it, more general and general introduction.
Okay.
So I have talked about it last week. And then, of course, from a more technical point of view, this reading will clear things out, I think, for everyone. So basically, yes, right now I think it's private, but eventually I can disclose it. So I will maybe make it public soon. But of course, I have taken a bit of it's written as is the dAppy release has been as is dAppy has been released already, but it's not the case.
Okay.
But yes, if you want to read it, that I will make it public and share the link on the.
Yeah, and when you're comfortable, because actually, I still need to finish reading the dAppy.com / technology page. I think I got about halfway through that, so I still need to finish that. So I can work on reviewing the dAppy.tech page. So, and maybe by the time I'm done with that, you'll be ready to the Gitbook page will be ready. So yeah, okay, because you got a lot of, you're a busy person. I don't want to put excessive demands on you.
No, of course, but it's entirely, of course, English not being my primary language. It's great for a native to review what I wrote.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So, and when I go through your documentation, I'll kind of go through it with an eye as far as well, certainly for spell checks. So, or for typos. So, I'll keep an eye out for that. And then if I read something as far as grammar or usage that could it's that really needs to flow better, I'll bring that to your attention as well. So, but I think you're doing a great job with your documentation. I mean, I'm really impressed with your ability, your skill with English as a second language is amazing, because I studied Spanish in school, and I spoke Spanish and write Spanish, and so I understand how difficult it is, a challenge to for a second language, and you're far and above what I can do with Spanish. So yeah, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, but that's also because as developers we have no choice but to read and hear English language every day. So basically,
Yep, right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We get to it very easily.
Yeah. Well, exciting stuff.
Okay.
Good. And I may even have to, I'll probably, Jim, once you post this video, I'll need to go back and rewatch it again, because there was so much information that Raphael, provided. It's worth another review.
Yeah, I just got back from my trip, so I've been multiplexing here. I'll have to watch it again. It looks like that the blog app and some of this stuff would be great to put on the Wednesday debrief.
Yeah, we can start to think about. So now that we're getting close to, okay, things are getting ready, and Raphael and others, they're building things. Now it's how do we start presenting it to the community and start getting this adoption. That's ultimately we want. There's that expression that someone used the other day. We eat our own dog food. It's all these applications and features and functionality that we're building now, where we start to use them, incorporate them in our daily activity. So that's that transition, or the adoption phase. And and there's, when we think about that, there's a certain methodology that goes about, how do you bring people, bring them up to speed? How does this adoption phase work? It's, so we have to think through it. It's not by happenstance. It's just, it's just not by chance. There's a methodology to it that if we choose to. And I think it's incumbent on us to kind of do some thinking on how that's going to happen. And these are great examples and use cases, with dAppy, just with the the blog. I mean, having a blog out there is a tremendous vehicle for communicating information. So, how do we get you know start incorporating using a dAppy blog into our lives and routines, or for people who are using blogs, getting them familiar with that. So those are just some thoughts that kind of go through my head. And the if we understand, using this example of a dAppy blog, all of these intricacies are, what Raphael did in order to make that happen, reviewing the video, we'll get a better understanding of this, the underlying architecture that's working to happen. So, for our dApps and for future dApps, that could be sort of a template for to help to create future architectures for dApps and so forth. Just some thoughts.
Yeah, that's the goal, because I have written some applications, but finally, yes, the blog template is such a basic thing that I should have done it from the beginning, because and then when the code is published, basically anyone can fork it and start to change it. So it's not articles, it can be anything else, can be photos, or because yes, the blog, I did not say it, but it's an append only blog. So basically, even being the admin of this blog, I cannot change the articles I have published. So it's fun because it's blockchain based. So we can decide some rules which cannot exist outside of the blockchain paradigm. And one of these rules in this application is not being able to update or to delete the articles.
That's interesting. So, I mean, once you publish it, it's a permanent record that cannot be changed or updated. That's that gives I think it gives the writer a deeper appreciation for having go through, make sure they catch all the typos and the grammar issues, because once they publish it, they can't go back and fix it. So yeah, it's a new paradigm. It's a new, for people to dial that in, that hey, once you publish this to the blockchain, it's there, and you can't change it. So thanks for pointing that out.
Okay, I'll stop sharing because my computer will crash if I don't.
Sure. So how are we doing on time here? We got another 15 minutes or so. So yeah, unfortunately, Arvin wasn't able to join us today. They're having their coronavirus issues in China. Hopefully everything's okay in where he lives. But maybe he'll be back next week. So does anyone know? So if RChain were to be, if we were at mainnet today, how does anyone have a sense of how far we are from with my RChain wallet for being live or being usable? I wasn't sure if we're at that stage yet, or how far off we were. Does anybody get a sense of that from last week?
I think the main thing that's needed is we need to be able to select the mainnet as a choice.
Oh, okay.
I think we had we've gone through and used the wallet, the features that work.
Right.
The history is still not implemented. But
I think what will be also, maybe Arvin did it already with Tomislav, but of course the check balance will switch from deployment to exploratory deploy route. So basically, it will be become free.
Okay.
It will be also exponentially faster to check the balance from my RChain wallet, because it just relies on the HTTP API, and it does not go all the way through the blocks with a specific depth. It just executes Rolang on top of the blockchain and give the results back. So it should be faster and very much more user-friendly.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
I saw the announcement that the current wallets.txt being prepared for production was live in testnet. And I don't know what's happening, but I've had a problem this morning. I do a deploy, and I'm not getting a response here. Now, here, I get deploy failed.
You want to show your screen?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get deploy failed on the wallet. If I look at the...
So let me back up, and I want to make sure I understand what the significance of the wallet.txt. So if we have wallet.txt on the testnet now, does that mean we would be able to see our rev balance if we select the testnet as the destination source? We would be able to see what our
since
rev
this
balance is.
particular wallet is based on my the wallet that has Rock in it.
Okay.
Okay, when I created this wallet, I selected restore, and I put the private key for my Ethereum account. So I would, if the deploy didn't fail here, I presume I would see my balance.
Okay.
Now I don't know why this error is coming up. Failed to construct WebSocket. The URL testnet.my RChain Wallet /ws/events is invalid. Now I don't know. Did something change? Why would that be invalid? If I look,
I guess our node has changed.
See where I tried to deploy. Where I tried to deploy, I don't see any errors. But if I look up here, not much was happening. It says it received deploys. So I don't know, but then down here, I can see it refunding wallets. So somebody's doing something, or it's doing something, but I can't seem to access it. I don't know if anyone knows what's happening here, but this pre-charging, refunding, it just started doing this while we were talking here.
Oh, well, they're working on pre-charging and funding piece of it, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe when this gets done, we'll be able to see our balances.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, but that's what I said, is that right now the check balance still relies on deployment and then the WebSocket flow of events from our node. But this should change now that exploratory deploys are available.
Oh, okay. So it's gonna.
Well, we should still be able to run the check balance contract. It's just that there'll be a better way to do it, which would be free, right?
Very good. Well, even though we've got, 10 minutes left, anybody have any final thoughts or comments or questions?
Yeah, just last thing. Since it is the definitive wallet.txt file that runs on the testnet, be very careful about if you're sure you want to input your private key to a website. Of course, the website, since it's my RChain wallet, it should be fine to input a private key inside it. But especially if it's not HTTPS, be very careful with your private keys, because right now it's the true private keys that will be able to unlock all the revs you have. So be very careful about where you put it.
Yeah, we need like flashing lights or something that on Zoom to make alert, alert for everyone watching this video going forward. Yes, take great care and caution with private keys, and make sure that that the HTTPS is being used. So yeah, thank you, Raphael, for pointing out some of these security topics or issues that we all need to be thinking about. So good. All right, Ned, you've been quiet. Any final thoughts from you or anything?
No, I'm all good. Everything
Okay.
looks exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. All right, everybody. Well, I enjoyed the session, and so we'll see everyone back here next week. So have a great week, everybody.